and you either just heard some lovely advertisements or maybe we just cut and pasted and we're back in. But now we're joined by the man himself, Kevin Ward. How you doing?
Doing good, boys. Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. The listeners just got done with a half hour or so of Drake, and it was actually sort of electric. We kind of replayed. Well, I'll get into it because it was prompted with a question that I'm also going to ask you. Um, how are you feeling right now as 26-year-old Kevin, who is 4 years out, 4 years out of football, but now there's this massive game for the Iowa Hawkeyes? Like, how has this the last 3 days been?
Um, hmm. Are you referring to like compared to like when we used to play type feeling or what?
That's the place I'm going. Is the question I have for you is there's for some games there is just this extra element of wow, I'm really having to manage the emotion of I can't wait for Saturday. I am very excited to play in this football game. And that's one of those this week.
Oh, sure. So I would say like back when we played, you could kind of feel the energy around campus. Like you go to class and people are talking about it, and um, you're just excited to play. Now, as a fan and alumni, I'm excited as hell to go, but you don't have that same, feeling inside. I don't know how to describe it really, but
What was that feeling like when we
I don't know. Like for back when we played, it felt like, at any point throughout the week, like I could suit up and be ready to play in an hour. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like you were there was enough juice that you could get up that quick.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I described it in the segment that the listeners just heard as like it was as little as you would get on your moped and just driving around campus. It just felt like the air was just a little bit crisper, you know?
Yeah, a little crisper, a little tingle in the balls.
That's funny. That's so funny. How did you manage? Were you able to manage those emotions as we got closer? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, off day, a lot of time to just think about it, get the body right. Like, was that difficult or easy for you?
Um, I wouldn't say like I was really ever anxious about the games up until, like right before the games.
Okay.
Just more so excited throughout the week. And then really like Friday night, Saturday morning is when I start to get okay, let's come on, let's get this over with. I need to play this football game right now.
Walking around that hotel room, the Kirkwood is just like, ooh, it was like a pulse that you could feel.
Yeah, the night games were the worst. And we've talked about this before, but you have literally all day Saturday. You're just sitting around, watching some football. You have some meetings, and you're just like, I feel like I've played this thing 3 times in my head already this week. But yeah, it's definitely an obstacle that you have to kind of manage. I would say older players typically are better doing it than younger players,
For sure.
especially older players that have played and been in that spot before. Um, but to manage the energy and the hype around the game before the game, it's an actual factor.
It's tough. I mean, it requires. I'm not really sure how to describe doing it, but it's like deep breathing, sort of just almost a meditative breath, stretching, rolling out, laying down. I mean, I can remember, I can remember putting on our travel polos, and I say I can remember like it was 40 years ago. It was literally in 2017. Like I would put on our polos, and my armpits would just sweat, dude. Like I was on fire. My body temp was, core temp was high. I didn't never take heart rate measurements, but I'm sure I was up 10 or 20 beats the entire Friday, Saturday. Um, do you have words to describe what it felt like to be at the hotel on what we would call the business trip. Like that feeling of we arrive at the hotel, say it's the Kirkwood, or say we just got off the plane and now we're getting to the away hotel, and what those hours are like, walking around the hallways, go into the dinner, go into the in what way would you describe the energy and the feeling of that? Because I don't
I'd say it's
almost
kind
like
of
a
like
funeral.
almost a relief, like the end of the weeks here. It's like once you get on the bus to go up to the hotel, it's like, all right, now school, practice, all that stuff's behind me. It's like now the only thing I got to worry about in the entire world is this game tomorrow. That's it. So a little bit of relief there. Um, I don't know, dude. Like I said, the older I got, the more it just became like routine. You
It
get
was
into your routine.
yeah.
Uh, you go to your hotel room, you chill out with whoever your roommate is. You go back down to meetings. You go back up to your hotel room. Or no, I guess you go to dinner first. Go back up to your hotel room.
It was quiet. It was always quiet.
Mm-hmm.
The
It
very
was, yeah. Focused. I
it was
know Phil wouldn't like it if dinner was too loud or if breakfast was too loud. Breakfast, like, sounded like a funeral home. That thing is all you hear is knives and forks to plates, and that is it.
and it's
Um,
not, there is no, hey, I'm going back up to the room. It's when you're done, you get up, you push your chair in, you just walk out of the room. Like it was
yeah, no, you're just so we usually sat in position groups, and you're sitting there and kind of looking your guys in the eye. It's like, all right, time to go award again today. But yeah, very focused, very
there was no wasted energy or banter.
right. Yeah, no, I mean it's not like your 12-year-old baseball trip where you're
Right.
going a couple hours down the road and staying in a hotel,
Going
and
to the pool.
you and the other kids are getting in the pool when it's pool's closed, getting yelled at by the night manager.
Can you
It's
can you imagine
and
if
all your parents have to go running around trying to get you to go to sleep. No, none of that stuff.
can you
Like,
imagine if at the Kirkwood after dinner I would have stood up and just like real loud been like, Kevin, I'm going to the pool. Go get in the hot tub quick.
well,
Oh,
yeah, I guess we're like the 21-year-old version of that would just be going to the hotel bar.
yeah. Hey,
But
I'm gonna go do a shooter. Let's do shots. Oh my god.
no, yeah, there's none of that. It's a business trip, like you said. That's how we always phrase it as. We're going there. We have a job to do, and we gotta be ready to do that job.
Yep. I want to take a moment because when I was coming home from Kev was a meeting with one of the true, the proud, the walk-on army. His name's Sean Purdy. His name I will find in a second. He makes custom football helmets. Okay. Made a custom washed up walk-on's helmet.
No.
And this, oh,
Oh, the flag is.
hold on.
You got to take off the
Yeah,
filter.
because it's blending in. I'm gonna have to take off the for those that are listening, please go to the YouTube version to see this.
No way. Oh, that is sick. Is that visor see through?
I don't believe so. No, it's not.
Still sick.
Still so sick.
Walk-ons right there. Oh my god, that's freaking awesome. Of course, he put your number on it. Washed up. I love it.
Like,
I
dude,
love
how
it.
sick is that helmet?
Can we get like two more?
He said he's in the process of making one for you guys as well.
No, he's not. Who we gotta have this legend on the pod.
He's one of the walk-on army. I just met him. And he, what's his name on Instagram? Hold on. He does them for, I mean, I don't know if he wants more business or not. He said that's not definitely not the reason he did it. His Instagram name is pigskin_lids, pigskin_lids. Sean Purdy on Instagram. He does
Well, hell yeah, let's shout out that legend.
He does some pretty cool stuff. Unbelievable what the walk-on army does. We went over a bunch of patrons and all that stuff with the flags. I've got the golden goods down in the basement right now. the next shipment of flags, Kevin. One of them coming your way this weekend. Because I suppose I'll give one to you. You know,
Is it gonna make it there? We're gonna be able to fly it at the tailgate.
we will be able to fly it at the tailgate. I'm not getting there at 6 a.m. In fact, your brother texted me yesterday.
Yeah, he's over in your neck of the woods.
Yep, he was trying to get a beer. I was unfortunately caught up.
Unfortunately, raised to not love beer or something like that.
No, well, Todd Kluber loves a beer, you know. But yeah, we'll be able to throw that thing up at the tailgate. I'm gonna try and make some tailgates this weekend. So a ton of you have given me the address of your tailgates, and again, I'm not, unless it's the Ward family tailgate, I'm not the biggest tailgate guy. I kind of like to, you know, I'm not a drinker. If there was a tailgate with like an assortment of donuts, and there was just like donuts on donuts, and there's just there's just a refresh of donuts every 30 minutes, that'd be great.
Tell you what, you show up at 6 a.m., we'll have donuts. I can't promise that at 7:30 a.m. though.
Right. Well, I don't know when we're gonna get there. And thank you guys so much for almost 1,200 followers on Instagram. We just passed 1,400 subscribers on YouTube, and we're closing in on 10K on Twitter. So the army is strong, and you guys are absolutely ridiculous. It is Drake's birthday. I made sure to say hi, happy birthday to him in his half of this, Kevin. Did you think he'd make it to 27?
It is Drake's birthday. Yeah.
You think he'd make it to 27?
No, I think we put the over under at 30. Is that right?
Okay, so 37 definitely not happening.
I'm saying 37 at plus 1,200 odds.
Oh man. All right, let's get into a couple questions before Kevin and I break down a little bit of the actual X's and O's of this game. Not that we're Bill Parker by any means. Kev, what did you think of the old Urban Meyer grinding sesh over the weekend with the co-ed?
It's not a good look, boys.
Not a great look.
Not a good look. Your team is 0-4. And they're not really playing well either. And you spend the weekend. I know they played on Thursday night in Cincinnati. I'm guessing that's kind of close to Columbus. So he wanted to go check out his college town and apparently get wasted and hang out with some co-eds instead of maybe coach for your next week. I don't know what the line is on the Jaguars this week, but hammer the other team.
Yeah. Of course, the NFL's
it's
weird, and sometimes they come in like crushed when there's all the distractions. NFL's weird like that.
Yeah. I mean, oh my God, that's just it was cringy to see. Like
it was
getting a little handsy there.
That young woman, I don't even know if it was a young woman, but that woman
she wasn't his age. I know that
was not Urban Meyer's age, and there was some hip gyration going on.
Yeah,
I mean, that was like Marshalltown prom circa 2012, right there. There's some shit going down.
I mean, he's got to be smarter than that, right?
Clearly not. He doesn't. He couldn't call the timeout on Polecat. Couldn't fade a video camera at the bar when he's getting grinded on.
Well, this is what I was gonna say is like you got to be telling your players, hey, you are someone on this campus. When you are downtown, assume that someone has a phone on you.
Right.
You're Urban freaking Meyer.
Yeah.
You're like the most recognizable guy in Columbus. You ain't even coached there in 3 years.
Maybe he just doesn't give a shit anymore.
Maybe he doesn't, but that is a new level of not giving a shit.
I think he's a college coach, and I don't think, especially with that, I don't know if he'll ever get the true respect of an NFL.
So this is my take on Urban Meyer's coaching ability. I think he was a phenomenal recruiter and got great talent.
Yeah.
I didn't think that the teams he coached were overly well coached compared to
because of him, at least.
No, not necessarily because of him, because they never had to be. Like their defense, they play cover one all day. They play like the most basic defense ever, and they just rely on being better than you, which they were.
They just straight up ask you to beat them one-on-one.
Right, which they were 98% of the time. It allows them to play an extra guy in the box, stops the run easy. It's like, go ahead and beat my 5-star cornerbacks and safeties.
You're not going to. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often, but Oregon found a way to you know, to beat them because they were using those guys to crack, and their young corners weren't replacing. Oregon broke some big runs. So, I mean, just goes to show they're not I don't think they're excessively well coached team.
Yeah.
I think they're great at the fundamentals. I don't think that their scheme is all that complicated. They just focus on being better. So I don't think he's that great a coach. Therefore, he's not going to be a good coach in the NFL. I don't know. Could be wrong, but that's my thoughts on it.
No, I don't think he lasts long in Jacksonville. And then I think he comes back to TV.
I mean, just absolute cringe.
I mean, guy loves being on camera, you know?
Like, I'd rather like my head coach being implemented in like an embezzlement scandal than the cringe
tax fraud,
that,
you know,
like exactly like tax fraud. Like, all right, he's trying to keep some money from the government. I guess we can all relate to that.
Like if KF was brought up on charges of like, oh, they were trying to embezzle money so they could donate more to the hospital. You know, it's like, okay, I understand.
But yeah, no, I do. Senior head coach in one of your college bars.
Yeah, he's downtown getting Paulas, you know?
And like the chicks that you hang out with are going to hang out with him. It's like, no, that's all time cringe. And oh man.
This is going to be the biggest recruiting weekend that Iowa has ever had. The last I saw, and I don't follow it tooth and nail, but I see some of the tweets. Supposedly there's going to be over 80 recruits, and we will have never had something like this. Don't quote me. We'll have never have had more 4- and 5-star recruits in the building to watch a game than we will Saturday.
That's pretty neat.
What is a weekend? What is a game like this? What could it actually potentially do? What is the real potential of the Hawks like coming out looking good? You know, the recruits having a great time on a game day weekend. Like, can that sway? Can that be the swaying factor for someone?
Barring getting blown out, I think that the recruits are going to have a phenomenal time anyway. If it's a close game and they lose, recruits understand that, you lose football games every now and then. But if the fans are crazy, if the energy is amped up, that's something that can kind of sway recruits. Like, oh man, going to play here is crazy. It's fun. Crowd's into it. It's loud. It's noisy. And there's just a ton of energy. Who wouldn't want to play there? If you have a good time downtown after that doesn't hurt either. But, if it's a close game or even if Iowa blows them out, but if like the energy is there, that's something that sticks in a recruit's mind. I know it did my first game that I went to Iowa.
Yeah. Kinnick's one of those special places. I don't know if any of you listening to this saw the Joel Klatt on Colin Cowherd's show. Came out sometime Wednesday around midday. And they were both just ogling over Kinnick and the environment and talking up the Hawks a little bit too. Hawks are favored in this one. Hawks are favored. Give it the old Kinnick 1.5. We're going to get into it here in a second. What's Kevin's keys to the game here? What are we looking at versus a talented Penn State offense and defense?
Got to control the line of scrimmage. I want to make Sean Clifford beat us with his arm. I don't want them to be able to establish the run.
Drake said the exact same thing.
What's that?
Drake said the exact same thing. And I will tell you this. Their leading rusher, Noah Kane, only has 59 carries for 200 yards on the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's not great. But I think we have to put Sean Clifford in uncomfortable situations, and I think he'll be able to make mistakes then. If we can capitalize on those, we have to win the turnover battle. This is not a game where we lose the turnover battle and win the game. I don't think it's possible.
Correct.
And then
and it's a good thing we win the turnover battle pretty frequently.
Yeah, now we've been doing a great job of that this year. Would love to keep it up.
I wonder what Penn State is this year on turnover battle.
I think this is going to be a really close game, and you could after this game, kind of point to a handful of plays that changed the whole dynamic of it.
Yep.
But I think it's going to be a really tough, physical, hard-fought game. I would love to see the Hawkeyes, like I said, stop your run, make Clifford beat us. I know they got the really good receiver. What's his name? Dotson.
Jahan Dotson.
Yeah. He could be a factor, but I want to make Clifford uncomfortable.
He's the most probably veteran guy on offense or defense, maybe on both teams, other than our DBs. Hey, that's the battle right there, maybe, huh? Veteran DBs versus a veteran quarterback and a guy who has a couple weapons to throw to. Man, it's going to be exciting. This is a game where you got to think Riley Moss, Kerner, Merriweather, Belton, Hankins. These boys licking their chops right now, saying, "Hey, people are saying we're one of the best 2, 3, top 5 defense in the country. Time to get tested a little bit." Think they're licking the chops?
I mean, if you're listening to the noise,
Hey, we're the noise, dude.
we are the noise. Yeah. So any current Iowa football players listening to this, you should turn it off right now and go study some fucking film.
Just
That's one for the kids right there.
The fuck are you doing?
There's certain podcast members with a financial interest in your performance. Go study some film.
Yeah.
No. It's easy to get caught up in that. The media sucking your ass. You have to try to block it out, but you do relish the opportunity to go up against a good opponent. It's like any competitor out there loves to compete at the highest level. And this is as far as the regular season goes, this is going to be the highest level that we're going to have to compete at.
This is that.
Yeah.
Penn State's +6 on turnovers. I think we're something like +9, maybe more than that. So,
I don't know. We're +6 in the last game alone. So
it's true. I think we're probably more than that. This is number 1 in the Big Ten East versus number 1 in the Big Ten West. Like you said, Ohio State, who knows what they've really got. They're definitely going to compete. I think it's going to come down to Penn State.
They have the talent. Ohio State does. They always do. They have a couple young guys, and I think they're getting better throughout the season. So don't count them out by any means because they lost to a good Oregon team. I don't think Michigan will end up being there at the end of the season. It'll probably be between Ohio State and Penn State, in my opinion, but you never know. I think Penn State really does need this win, though, because otherwise that Ohio State game's a must win, which it pretty much already is. I don't know.
It kind of is already. Yeah.
Right.
They're in a much worse, as the leader or co-leader in the East right now, they are in a much more dire position as far as like odds at this time of the season to make the Big Ten championship than Iowa currently sits.
Well, I mean, that just,
the West,
the East is deeper than the West this year.
I thought maybe at the beginning of the year, we'd have parity. We'd have sort of an even conference, but through the first 5 weeks, it may be the most lopsided East-West there's been in, I don't know, a whole decade. I'm not sure. It's pretty bad this year.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see as more of the league play goes, but yeah, it would seem this year that the East is more talented and better this year.
There's a couple questions. Part of that prompt of how it feels during a big game week like this. It was a 6-part kind of inquiry from one of our listeners. One of his questions was, is there a chance that we are seeing before us the next steps from 7 to 8 win old Iowa? He puts in parentheses, not complaining, and a future where we take the place of 9 or 10 win Iowa, or take the place of Wisconsin and be 9 and 10 win Iowa at the top of the West, and we control and we become what Wisconsin has become in the West for the last maybe decade or so. Are we seeing that? And if we are, this would be a game you need to win to sort of continue to cement that. But you look at the last couple seasons.
I mean, you could argue that we're already there. 19, they won 10 games. Last year, they went 6-2.
Haven't won the division though.
What's that?
Haven't won the division though.
Haven't won the division. That's true.
But I think yes is the answer to this question. Like,
definitely looking at the rest of the West, Iowa is set up to succeed in the next 2 to 3 years. I would say more so than any other program.
I would agree. How long do you think Kirk stays around?
I think his current contract goes through what, 26?
Yeah.
We'll see if he signs another one after that, but I wouldn't be surprised if he rides his contract out. And
I would say doubtful on any more years past 26.
Hey, if the headman's just so happens to be listening to this, you're welcome to stay as long as you want, my man.
Hey, and you could tell us to go fuck ourselves, okay? All right. If you want to coach till you're fucking 90, all right, you could do that shit. Because I know.
No, I don't see that for KF, but if you're a high school kid out there and you're graduating within the next couple of years, and a recruit, I should say, and you have the chance to come to Iowa, I would just relish in the fact that you have about 4 or 5 years left to play for a first ballot Hall of Fame college football coach.
Yeah.
And that's an opportunity that
on teams that he's going to coach that, this year is got the potential to challenge for one of his best teams ever. And I think that the next couple years, you might see similar quality teams. Maybe not top 5, but I think you're.
I would love to see KF go out with a string of 5, 10 win plus seasons in a row.
Like if they just roll into that and then he just calls it, and he's got 3 or 4 out of the last 6 years that he coaches, he goes to the Big Ten championship, maybe wins 1 or 2. Sheesh.
Yeah, I would love nothing more for the for the head man. But there's really not many places out there that can say hey, our guy's been here for 25 years.
There's nobody.
He ain't going before you leave. And guess what? He's also a first ballot Hall of Fame coach that develops NFL talent.
It's a lot to recruit.
That fucking cares about his players.
More than cares about his players and the game. He cares about the game so much. He's so emotional over just everything that goes into this whole situation. We've been talking long enough. I think it's time. Kevin. All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind. So it's still Ward's winners, but it's not Kevin Ward. It's Beef Ward.
Yes. I might just tail my dad's picks this week.
Right. Beef Ward, the beef bet of the week or bets of the week will be out sometime midday on Thursday. So maybe hours after you're listening to this. Be on the lookout for that on Instagram and Twitter. He is 3-0 in the last 2 weeks. I think he's 4-0 in the last 3 weeks. He basically hasn't lost yet. And is looking like the only smart guy on this podcast, because currently the boys sit at 7-7-1. That would be me. So I'm dead 50%. Kevin and Drake are both 6-9, 6-9, which nice, but not nice. So who do we got this week, Kev?
Got a high school buddy. He's a little bit of a gambler.
Oh, really?
But,
you got a couple of those.
Yeah, we know a couple of those, but his when in doubt, his favorite line is bet the favorite.
Okay.
So anytime we do like an NCAA bowl tourney pool
Yep.
or a March Madness pool, the name of the group is always bet the favorite.
Love that.
So I'm gonna listen to my friend's advice here, and I'm gonna bet the favorite, and not just gonna bet the favorite. I'm gonna bet the favorites for the number 1, 2, and 3 teams in the country.
Holy
So I got
shit.
Georgia minus 15. I got Bama minus 17 and a half, and I got the Hawks minus 1.5. Let's go. Bet the
Oh,
favorite, baby.
goodness. I love it. Kevin's just throwing caution to the wind. Bet the favorite mentality. Wow. I love
But
it.
I do love those first 2 picks. Georgia is really, really good.
Really good. I don't think anyone.
Auburn's been having some quarterback controversy the last couple weeks. Scraped out a win versus LSU, but I don't see anyone slowing down the steamroller that is the Georgia Bulldogs until SEC championship time. Bama's got A&M, who has looked less than stellar the last 2 weeks with losses to Arkansas and who they lose to last week, Mississippi State. So, Bama had a little bit of a scare from Florida. Florida's a good team, but I think they're going to run it up against the old Aggies of Texas A&M. So I like them. And the Hawks, I think, just have a little something going this year. It's a little bit of a, you can kind of speak to it like the 2015 team. Once you get the ball rolling week after week, W. And KF said, we're healthy. We're practicing good.
Which, by the way, fuck you for that tweet. I put out a tweet. One of our beat writers, I think it was Eichholt, tweeted out, KF says the whole team's healthy. Everybody's got a chance to play. I quote tweet that, being me, because Kevin and Drake have this like vendetta against how much I use Twitter because they're not the same kind of guy. And so I'm Twitter guy. I'm tech guy, Twitter guy. I'm mouth guy. And so I quote tweet Eichholt and I say, maybe one of the most underrated part of football, having a healthy team or having a team with no injuries. You don't even have to.
It was staying healthy. Staying healthy was your thing.
Okay, staying healthy. And Kevin responds with, says the long snapper. Still applies. Okay. Then let
It does still
else
apply. It does still apply. No one's worried about the long snapper getting hurt.
And
I know that wasn't your thing, but I just love poking fun at you.
Yeah, there's the ching for the FU to Kevin. We are healthy. I do really believe that that's very underrated. Like, if you look at Minnesota, they're probably a little bit of a different team with their all-star running back. Purdue is struggling to have they have a running back down, a quarterback that's Graham Mertz just got hurt, and he wasn't really good for Wisconsin this year before that, but now they're trying to decide, do we play a banged up Mertz or the Wolf kid? It's tough when you get people hurt. I mean, CJ was honestly a little gimpy our entire
2016 season.
Yeah, our entire 16 season. And I think we're maybe a little better if he's a little more healthy. I mean,
for sure. Obviously. But yeah, it's great being healthy.
Knock on wood, because shit.
Yeah, I just think that this is one where home field advantage is going to play big. The energy is going to be awesome. I expect these guys to be ready to play their best game of football because they're going to need to.
Yep.
So give me the Hawks. I'll give the Penn State Kitty Cats some 1.5 to play with.
Kev, I'm excited for this game, man.
I'm excited for this game too.
We'll come back to that in a second. I'm going to give you my picks quick. I think this is probably a trap line. Rutgers is going to end up losing by a field goal, but I'm seeing Michigan State minus 5.5 some places. And I like Michigan State to cover 5.5. I don't know. Maybe I'm dumb. It's Butgers, dude. Like Drake says, it's Butgers. They shouldn't even be in the Big Ten. I'm going to stay in the Big Ten. I like betting the Big Ten. and I'm 50-50 this year, so I'm not doing too bad. Where did it just go? I lost it. It's Illinois and Wisconsin. How do I lose it, dude? Illinois, Wisconsin, right here. Over under sitting at 42 and a half. I'm going under.
Under, huh?
Under 42 and a half, Wisconsin, Illinois. Wisconsin can't score, man.
Yeah, I could see that one for sure.
And Illinois is just Illinois. Brett Bielema.
They've looked very, very average this year, so I can see that.
So, so now this game will inevitably, it will be 35-32, but I'm going under. And then my final bet of the week is UCLA covered on Stanford for me, and I appreciated that. They're playing Arizona, who's not good. They're holding walk-on tryouts, as we mentioned last episode or 2 episodes ago, mid-season. UCLA is a 16-point favorite. I'm taking UCLA again. Take the Bruins. Now, none of those games matter because the Iowa motherfucking Hawkeyes are in Kinnick at 3 p.m. on a Saturday versus the Nittany Lions, who have had our number. Granted, we beat them last year in a year that they probably will just strike from the record books over in Happy Valley. But other than that, in big-time meaningful games, 17, 16, I think before that we played them in 12.
Yeah. Granted, 16 to 17, those are some really good Penn State teams.
Yeah. But they beat us.
Oh, yeah, they beat us.
And I kind of like you, Kev. I do understand the 2015 one after another. You just kind of you start to walk into the facility and you think, hey, I'm going to tighten down even more this week. You know what? I'm going to clean up the diet just a little more. I'm going to put a little more effort into walkthrough. I'm going to put a little more effort into film study. Everybody oh my God. I just went fucking full on brain aneurysm. They start to live that slight edge. And that slight edge starts to widen as the season goes on. And you're hoping that those opponents you're playing are on that other path. They're all doing the wrong little things. And if there was a team to do it, Kev, it's 2021.
Got a talented group of people. Talented group of dudes, man. A little bit of want to. They got some dudes now.
They got more dudes than we had dudes.
And they do have more dudes than we had, that's for sure.
I think last week was a nice little confidence booster. An extra day of rest.
That's true. That's true. You got to put that into factor. An extra day of rest to recover, more film study.
Not a ton to lose here. I know that's not the mindset, but it's not like this game is life or death. Like the Hawks can still do everything they want to do, even if they lost this game. Again, you don't think about that, but it's maybe this subconscious weight. I know the Hawks are favored. I know people are all over the place are picking them to win, which probably means you should pick the underdog. Hard to say that this number 4 Penn State team is an underdog in a game.
I don't know, man. I've seen this line go crazy from pick to Iowa -2.5 down to 1.5. So I think money's coming in on all sides. I think it's probably gonna be one of the most bet games of the week. I like the Hawks, man. How can you not like the Hawks? How can you not like the Hawks this week?
Well, what I like is a happy Kevin. I've spent enough time with Kevin Ward, oftentimes when neither of us were wearing clothing. I just wanted to throw that in there.
It was not necessary to say that.
I feel like it was necessary.
It wasn't. It really wasn't.
That to know when you're it sounds real suspect. I know when you're happy, Kev. I know when you're happy.
Now it just sounds like I'm walking around our old college house with laying dong, and
Well,
you can tell when I'm happy. Like,
I know that you're in a good mood right now. And
of course
I know
I'm in
it's
a good mood,
and
man.
I know it's because the Hawks are 5-0
It definitely helps.
and you're going to be in Kinnick on Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
partially lubricated.
More than part. Yeah, I mean, I guess any part is partially. Yeah, sure.
Fractionally lubricated. It might be a heavy fraction.
Might be a
And
majority fraction. Who knows?
and that's where Kevin wants to be. And
I want more in my life right now than for it to be Saturday.
I I told Drake this. We said it in his part. I would do illegal things. Legitimately, I would do illegal things if you could offer me the opportunity to somehow make that tunnel walk on Saturday.
Just a tunnel walk?
No, well, I mean, and be a part of, be if I could be a Hawkeye football player, and I know everybody listening to this out there is like, well, no shit. But I'm a guy who's done it 35 times in Kinnick, 53 straight starts. Some would say that I had my filling. Nope, sure didn't.
Just want more, boys.
I'm hungry.
Just want more.
I'm hungry, and I would do.
I would go back to like the true freshman. You don't even get off on the bus. You have to walk there.
Yep, from Hillcrest.
From Hillcrest, and you just sit on the bench and you're told to stay out of other people's ways and stuff. I would pay to do that.
Yep, correct. Wow. I don't know if there's much more to say. I'm glad that you were able to hop on and do this, and we were able to get this out of the way because I've got some things to do. But I think I speak for Kevin and myself and Drake. Drake won't be there, but we're excited as hell to be in Iowa City in Kinnick on Saturday. We are just as much as you, maybe more, wanting a win for the Hawks. I think it's all pretty equal in Hawkeye Nation right now. And I think some of the fun of it is just being able to be and feel this way during the week. Like you're in a game.
Hell yes. Yeah,
you're in a game that
matters. Like living like the through the excitement week to week is definitely part of the fun.
Yeah.
Like when your team's like average, like in 2017 when we lost a couple games in a row or something like that. It's like, I mean, obviously you're still excited to play, but you can tell the energy's not there on the campus. It's the fans are still great on game day, but it's not the same.
It's not the same. It's a little different.
It's not the same when you're competing for the Big Ten West title.
Which we did mention in the first part, but the walk-ons have tickets too.
Yeah, and if I was a Hawkeye fan with the means and the opportunity to go to Indianapolis, I've already bought my ticket, as we did. And if
they win this game, you better book that Sunday.
Yeah, if you win this game, and you haven't bought them yet, I guess you just don't want to go.
You're just shit out of luck because them things gonna fly. But again, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. I told Drake and at the end of his part that next week's podcast is going to be emotional, regardless of how we come out of this weekend. And so you guys all have that to look forward to. If we win, come listen to us talk shit about potentially being the best team in the country, because I know that that's going to come out of somebody's mouth. And if we lose, come along for the ride and, relive the pain here so that we can all do it together. That's what this walk-on army, this walk-on lifestyle is all about. This was 255, which is absurd. And we thank you for joining us. We'll see you in Kinnick on Saturday. Peace.